Since the dawn of time, humanity has yearned for secrets. We lose ourselves in labyrinths of legends, in tales of hidden treasures and silenced truths. But what if the greatest of all mysteries lay hidden in plain sight, within the most read, translated, and revered book of all time, the Bible? This divine library in a single volume holds truths that for many remain like lost pages. It's not about torn pages or censored passages, but about layers of meaning, of narratives submerged in millennia of history and interpretation that, if truly revealed, could redefine our faith, shake our deepest beliefs, and expand our understanding of the divine. Prepare to embark on an unparalleled journey, an expedition to uncover what these lost books, not just physical texts, but forgotten knowledge, hidden revelations, and mysteries of divine engineering, would reveal about who we are, where we came from, and where we are going. This is not just a video, it's an invitation to delve into the scriptures in a new and powerful way, where the great stories of the Bible come alive in an epic and emotional form. The canonical Bible we have today is a monument of faith and wisdom, vast and complete, capable of guiding the soul. But imagine a library where, among the most sacred volumes, there were whispers of other books, texts that did not find their official place, but are mentioned in the scriptures themselves. What did these forgotten volumes contain? What truths could they tell us about the beginnings of faith and the secrets of creation? The shadow of the included and excluded. Did you know that the Bible itself refers to texts that are not part of our current canon? The book of Jasher, for example, is cited in Joshua 10:13 and 2 Samuel 1:18, describing events like the sun standing still in the sky or David's lament for Saul and Jonathan, and the book of the wars of the Lord, mentioned in Numbers 21:14. What could these volumes have added to our understanding of divine deeds? Were they merely historical records, or did they contain deeper revelations about God's interaction with humanity at crucial moments? The mere mention of these lost texts invites us to imagine a universe of knowledge that, for some reason, was sealed, hidden revelations and rejected testimonies. Beyond these, there are the apocryphal and pseudepigraphal books, such as the fascinating Book of Enoch and the Book of Jubilees. The Book of Enoch, for instance, delves into details about fallen angels, the angelic universe, the creation of the world, and antediluvian life in a way that Genesis only hints at. It describes the descent of the Watchers, angels, who married women, giving birth to giants and teaching humanity forbidden arts. The Book of Jubilees, in turn, retells the biblical story of Genesis and Exodus from a new perspective, dividing time into 49-year jubilees and offering additional explanations about the law and rituals. Why did these documents, so rich in symbolism, teachings, and narratives that expand our understanding, not find their place in the canon accepted by the main Jewish and Christian traditions? The answer is complex, involving centuries of theological debates and conciliar decisions that shape the Bible we have today. The fascinating threshold between the sacred and the forbidden, the discussion surrounding these lost books, is not just academic. It leads us to ponder the very formation of the biblical canon and the authority behind its selection. Were these truths that humanity was not ready to receive, or were they human intentions, guided by divine wisdom, that suppressed them to preserve a clearer and more central message? The mystery remains, inviting us to reflect on divine providence in the preservation of His Word. Before the first star twinkled, before time as we know it began its ceaseless march, the Bible suggests a pre-mortal existence, a celestial setting where crucial events occurred, shaping our destiny long before we set foot on this earth. These are echoes of eternity that, if fully understood, would reveal the true nature of our origin. The celestial council and the formation of the earth delve into biblical allusions to a divine council. In Job 38, God questions Job, "Where were you when I laid the earth's foundation. Tell me if you have understanding." This passage and others suggest the existence of spiritual beings, perhaps ourselves, who witnessed and participated in some way in the majestic orchestration of creation. What secrets would be hidden behind the curtain of time, of that primordial council that preceded the divine majesty that orchestrated the formation of the heavens and the earth in Genesis 1? The Bible reveals that the Lord formed the world through His Word, but what if there was more? A cosmic logic, a pre-existing plan where every detail was meticulously designed. The forgotten nature of our divine origin. The Bible clearly states that we are made in the image and likeness of God. This is not a mere metaphor. It is a profound declaration about our essence. If we are the image of the Creator, this implies a spiritual origin, a divine spark that connects us directly to the source of all life. What forgotten knowledge would allow us to reconnect with this truth, with the intimate relationship with the Creator that we may have had before our earthly journey? This idea of the soul's pre-existence, although not explicit in all canonical books, permeates certain traditions and raises questions about the purpose of our life here and now. Mysteries of the Garden of Eden and the Fall. The narrative of the Garden of Eden and the fall is a pillar of faith. But would there be deeper aspects about Adam and Eve's choice, the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, and its eternal consequences that have been lost to modern understanding? The serpent, the fruit, disobedience. All of this has a symbolism that transcends the literal story. What lies between the lines about the nature of free will, sin, and divine mercy that followed the expulsion from paradise? A lost book about Eden could reveal not only what happened, but why, the divine logic behind the most crucial of human choices. The Holy Scriptures are not just a compendium of moral and spiritual teachings. They narrate feats and describe constructions that defy human logic and the knowledge of their eras. These are evidences of engineering that transcends what we consider possible, suggesting the intervention of a divine architect and the use of lost knowledge for modern humanity. Noah's Ark, more than wood and pitch? In Genesis 6, God instructs Noah to build an ark with specific dimensions, 300 cubits long, 50 wide, and 30 high. Converting these to the metric system, this means approximately 135 meters long, 22.5 meters wide, and 13.5 meters high, the equivalent of a football field in length and a 4-story building in height. Modern naval engineers confirm that these proportions are ideal for stability in extreme maritime conditions, even without sails or propulsion. But how did Noah, around 600 years old, without modern machinery, manage to build a structure capable of carrying 70,000 animals, considering 2 of each pure species and 7 of each impure, plus food for a year? The weight was astounding. The Bible mentions that he used gopher wood and pitch, but would he have received lost knowledge of divine architecture and logistics that allowed not only the construction, but the survival of all life on board, including the management of tons of waste and a complex water system without electric pumps? Science is still trying to decipher the logistics. The Tabernacle and Solomon's Temple. Celestial blueprints. The descriptions of the tabernacle in the desert, Exodus 25-27, and the magnificent Temple of Solomon in Jerusalem, 1 Kings 6-7, are so detailed that they seem like celestial blueprints. The tabernacle, a mobile structure, and the temple, built with pure gold, precious stones, and cedar from Lebanon, consumed resources equivalent to billions of dollars in current values. In the case of Solomon's Temple, legend speaks of Solomon's ring, an artifact engraved with the sacred name of God, which would allow him to command spirits and even demons. According to ancient texts, it was these supernatural forces that moved the giant stones and massive beams, building the temple without even the sound of hammers or iron tools being heard. The production of materials for the Tower of Babel, for example, involved gigantic furnaces that transformed clay into a kind of stone at 800 degrees, with a natural bitumen serving as a glue stronger than modern cement, capable of keeping bricks stuck for 4,000 years. Imagine the lost technology and knowledge behind these feats, revealing secrets of construction and materials that symbolized God's presence among his people. The lost knowledge of ancient cities and civilizations. Beyond these wonders, the Bible mentions cities and structures that are now archaeological mysteries, such as the Tower of Babel itself, which at 2,400 Satan would be 3 times taller than the modern Burj Khalifa. Recent experiments have proven that the strength of Babylonian bricks made this construction entirely feasible with the technology of the time. What could these lost narratives reveal about divine interaction with ancient societies? Each brick weighed 15 kilos, and for the entire tower, 600 million were needed, with a production of 50,000 bricks per day. This was industrial engineering, consuming entire forests as fuel. This technical knowledge, the ability to organize such a large workforce and materials, all of this points to knowledge that was lost, but that a lost book could bring to light. Between the grand narratives of the Old Testament and the arrival of Jesus Christ in the New, there is a gap, a period of approximately 400 years that is, for many, a major question mark. Why are there no canonical records of this time? This biblical silence does not mean the absence of crucial events that shaped Judaism in Jesus' time, and which a lost book could fill. What happened between the Testaments? This period, often called the 400 years of silence, was in fact a time of intense political, cultural, and religious transformations for the Jewish people. It was the era of great world powers, the Persian Empire, Alexander's Greece, the Seleucid Empire, and finally the rise of Rome. It was in this context that synagogues emerged as centers of study and worship. That Jewish sects like the Pharisees and Sadducees gained strength, and that the expectation for the Messiah became more poignant. References to this time in extra-biblical sources, such as the books of Maccabees or the writings of Josephus, are in themselves a lost book of this era, revealing the resilience and faith of the people of Israel amid oppression. Understanding this period is fundamental to understanding the setting in which Jesus was born and ministered. The prophecy of gathering and the book that unites. The Bible, however, is not silent about the future. It speaks of the dispersion of Israel and the glorious promise that they would be gathered again. Ezekiel 37:15-20, for example, describes the vision of the 2 sticks becoming one, symbolizing the union of the houses of Israel and Judah. What do the prophecies about books that would unite to bring clarity in the latter days mean? In 2 Nephi 3:12, a reference from restored texts that many traditions consider lost revelations, we read about a book that would come to confirm the truth of the Bible, to bring to light the things that were lost, and to gather the dispersed of Israel. It is not just a physical reunion, but a reunification of knowledge, a spiritual clarity that dispels the shadows of centuries. Hidden truths revealed in the end times, the biblical promise of a restoration of all things, Acts 3:20-21, suggests that lost truths, knowledge, and commandments that may not have been fully understood or recorded would be revealed to prepare humanity for the second coming of Christ. What would these knowledge and commandments be? Would they be principles of a higher life, deeper understandings of the plan of salvation, or perhaps the revelation of mysteries that would help us align more perfectly with divine will? The lost book of this era would be God's own continuous revelation, unfolding his plan for humanity as we approach the end of time.
The lost book of the Bible is not necessarily a physical volume to be discovered in some ancient ruin or in the depths of a forgotten tomb. While archaeology continues to unearth treasures of knowledge, the true lost book resides in something much deeper. It lies in our incessant search for a broader and deeper understanding of the Word of God, in the continuous revelation that the Holy Spirit offers us, unraveling mysteries that once seemed obscure, and in the capacity of our hearts and minds to perceive the divine in every word, in every silence of the Scriptures. The greatness of God and His plan for humanity is not limited to what we already understand, nor to what has been canonized in a single volume. His wisdom and His love extend to the truths yet to be revealed, to the wisdom that awaits us between the lines, and to the knowledge that He, in His infinite goodness, will grant us in His own due time. May the flame of spiritual curiosity always guide us to seek, to investigate, and to understand what the Lord desires to reveal to us. For the knowledge of God, the depth of His plan, and the magnificence of His works are an endless journey, a spiritual epic that unfolds every day. The true lost book is the eternal and continuous revelation of God to the heart that seeks Him.